Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, Keith Thurman had a successful comeback fight earlier this morning, and it's good to see Keith Thurman back after being off for quite some time. I mean, good Lord, Keith
Yeah.
Thurman has been out of the ring 3 years prior to his fight against Brock Jarvis, and then prior to that, if I'm not mistaken, his last fight was against Manny Pacquiao. His fight before that was against Manny Pacquiao back in 2019. So there has been a ton of inactivity as it relates to Keith Thurman. Some of it was him getting married, and some of it was related to injury. But I'm glad to see Keith Thurman back. He did look impressive. Now, the question that I have for you, Jay, and the people that are watching this video is this. He called out Tszyu. He called out Errol Spence Jr., who has also been very inactive over the last couple of years. I think it's approaching 2 years since Errol Spence has been in the ring. Now, we know that Errol Spence said that he would never, and The Rock means never. I just thought I'd throw that out there. But he's essentially said that he would never face Keith Thurman, although there were rumors prior to the negotiations that finally led to the Terrence Crawford fight that they were negotiating the fight to fight at like 154 somehow for like his WBC title or something to that effect.
Yeah, the weird weight.
Yeah, it was weird. So I don't know, Jay. Like both of these individuals have been out of the ring for quite some time. Keith looked pretty good. I think there could possibly be some demand for a Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence fight, regardless of what Errol said, which was he would never give him the opportunity. I could see them being able to sell a fight like this, and it would be a springboard fight for both of them, right? Errol, for whatever reason, wasn't able to move forward with the Fundora fight. Now, maybe that's something he's planning to circle back to, but I think this fight works for both of them. Keith Thurman has name recognition. That would be something that I think Errol Spence would seek out. I think they could market this as a pretty big fight. Even though it wouldn't be or it wouldn't have the level of significance it would have had, 3-4 years ago, I still think it's a viable fight for both fighters. So I want to get your thoughts, man. What do you think about that? The potential of an Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman fight. Would you be interested in that? In the broader audience, would you also be interested in seeing a fight like that at this time?
I mean, at this time, at this stage, they're both pretty much on equal playing field right now. Inactivity, age, injuries, things of that nature
Yep.
there.
Yep.
So, I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
I'll be cool to see. I mean, it's a grudge,
Is it though?
see what it's all about. It's a grudge because they both feel slighted, especially Spence. Spence said, "I never fight you," and all this stuff there. And Spence, the way Thurman treated Spence, that when Spence didn't have a belt and anything like that, Spence has a grudge on that. That's why he said he'll never fight him. And then Keith's gonna talk. We know one thing: Keith can sell a fight. So I mean, it'll make for an interesting matchup. I would like to see Spence back in. I know Spence don't do tune-ups, nothing like that. But I think Keith has a good chance of how getting the fight with either Spence or Tszyu if Tszyu handles his business. People have been talking about Charlo in there as well. I mean, any of those fights will be intriguing. We're gonna get what we get. We know at this stage of their careers, it ain't gonna be what it was when they were, in their primes. But just for name recognition for both of them, it'll be worth it. It'll be definitely be worth it. See how Keith can handle those body shots from Spence, and we'll see what version this is of Spence as well. Spence seemed like it was kind of when he was in Japan, doing video talking about he in shape and all this stuff. He do this and everything, kind of feeling himself and everything. So we'll see what Spence looks like, but it'll be a heck of a bounce back fight for Spence to come off of 2 years of inactivity, and everything, surgeries and whatnot. So it's worthwhile. I'll watch it.
I think the thing that would be intriguing, specifically about an Errol Spence fight, is number one, the history that I think you mentioned. That history of feeling slighted by Keith Thurman, I think is something that would be intriguing for boxing fans. I think Keith Thurman and his mouthpiece, I think, would also get under the skin of Errol Spence because Errol Spence feels that Keith Thurman is fake. He's disingenuous. So I think that those are two things that would draw fight fans in, specifically fight fans that have covered both of these fighters or at least watched both of these fighters. I think the other thing that would be interesting in this particular fight is we want to know what version of Errol Spence, like, what is Spence now? We don't know. We don't know. The
Yeah.
last time we saw him was against Terrence Crawford. He didn't look like the Errol that we knew, we all grew in and came to love. So what does he look like back in the ring? And he had some challenges with Terrence Crawford and that athleticism that Derrick James spoke to so often. Keith Thurman is a relatively athletic fighter. So what does
Yeah.
Errol look like against him? Now, I've always fancied Errol in that fight, but the version of Errol that we saw against Terrence Crawford, I don't know. I think that would be a very interesting fight. And to your point, they're both on equal footing at this moment with the injuries, with the inactivity. I just think it makes for an intriguing fight, something that PBC could absolutely sell.
Definitely. I mean, the long-term fans are gonna be happy to see something like this for both of them. Because to see either one of them right now at this stage of the career being in inactivity, get in there with especially a young gun, a young killer right now. You'd be like, I understand. I'm a fan of this fighter, but I don't know right now. I gotta see more from him right now. I want to see a litmus test, see where they're at. So I mean, this would be intriguing. They got history. True fight fans will tune in to watch it, and they could definitely package it with some other good undercard fights as well. It could work, especially in Dallas. Yeah, it could definitely work because Spence is still a draw.
Yeah, I think you could get a fight like this underway sometime in July, August. This fight would work. Now, again, Errol Spence could still be targeting Fundora. Spence has said on multiple
Yeah,
occasions that he's never going to fight Keith Thurman. It will not shock me if he chooses not to fight Keith Thurman because Errol has always demonstrated that he is a fighter of his word. And when he said that he would never fight Keith Thurman, frankly, I believed him.
and
So he has solidified his finances based off of what many people have stated. So this may never materialize, and it might be a Tim Tszyu fight. But I would love to see these two individuals get in the ring and just kind of see how it all mixes up. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go ahead and end both of those careers with a bang. And I'm not trying to say that they're at the end of their career, but at the same time, they're definitely at an age right now where, yeah, it's getting close to that time because Keith got to be what, 36 maybe?
yep, he's 36.
And so then I'm thinking Errol got to be around 35 now. So yeah, it's about that time. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this particular situation. Would you like to see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, kind of in the twilight of their career, getting ready to head off into the sunset? I think it could still be interesting, and I think people will still tune in. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.